Hello friends, and not yet friends, welcome back to What I Ate Wednesday here on Mary's Test Kitchen, where we're making cooking for one a little less sad. Now, there's absolutely no shame in just eating instant ramen or like hummus and veggies and things like that when you're just making food for yourself and cannot be bothered. But these easy single-serving vegan recipes only take a teensy bit more effort and honey, you are so worth it. First though, full disclosure, the Toshiba microwave convection oven I'm using today was gifted, so I could give you my first impression of it. This is not a sponsored video, and I'm under no obligation to say anything positive about it one way or the other, nor am I obligated to link to the product, but of course I did, so that you don't have to Google. You can be sure though, I'll point out anything that I don't like as well as what I do like about it. Now, you do not need a microwave convection oven to make these recipes. Just a regular microwave for 2 of them, and for the third, a regular oven or convection oven, and that includes air fryers. So let's start with breakfast. Something super simple, looks kind of fancy, and is so flipping delicious. Vegan shakshuka. I might be saying that wrong. I'm sure someone will let me know. You'll need tomato sauce. I'm just using plain crushed tomatoes, aka passata. Also smooth, fresh-tasting silken tofu as a stand-in for poached eggs. I'm using this tube version by Sunrise Soya Foods, which is from my hometown actually of Vancouver, BC, and I love it. Great quality stuff. And side note, we've actually had a tofu shortage crisis in Canada due to the increased demand at the beginning of the year, which is kind of awesome as more people are buying tofu, but guys, save some for me. You'll also want garlic, olive oil, and cumin for this Middle Eastern dish, and perhaps paprika, which I've actually run out of, so I'm using Korean red pepper flakes, aka gochugaru, which I am sure someone else is going to tell me I'm pronouncing wrong. Lay off, man, I'm doing my best. Also some ground coriander seed for bright lemony herbaceousness, and dried chives, or fresh if you have it handy. Now let's start by ladling some of that tomato into a microwave-safe bowl, about a half cup-ish. I'm not really about the measurements when I want to make something quick and easy just for myself. We can adjust later if we need or want to. Add about an 1/8 teaspoon of ground coriander, about an 1/8 teaspoon of ground cumin, some salt if your sauce isn't already salted, and a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes or paprika. And finally, 1 minced clove of garlic. Of course, adjust your seasonings if you're not using just plain crushed tomatoes like me. Add a little olive oil and mix. If you want to keep this oil free, you do you. It'll still work. Then add your tofu. I just made inch-thick slices and pressed them into the sauce. And that is ready for the microwave. Look at that new shiny inside. My usual microwave will never look that clean. Get it going with a 1-touch start, which gives you a minute, and then you can just wait and watch. Take out the bowl and give the sauce a gentle stir. Microwaves generally heat the outside faster, so push the sauce at the edges in or the middle sauce outwards. Then continue heating with 30-second intervals. I only needed the 1 round as I started with room temperature tomato sauce. You'll need a little longer if you started with cold. Top with some chives. And to make this prettier, spoon up the tofu to reveal that contrast. Add some tasty toasted seasoned sunflower seeds or other crunchy seeds or nuts, some more red pepper flakes, and maybe add a little olive oil. Highly recommended for the flavor. And there you have it. Beautiful vegan shakshuka for one. The combination of crunchy sunflower seeds and the smooth silken tofu with tangy spiced tomato sauce is just so wonderful. And it took less than 5 minutes to put together. This is actually my new favorite breakfast. You can really customize it with what you have in your pantry. Make a bigger bowl with more tofu if you have a bigger appetite. Maybe add some toast to that. Mix in some greens if you have them handy. Or add more nuts or seeds if you have a long time to go until your lunch break. This is your vegan shakshuka, and there are no rules. This next recipe rules for lunch. Or as a quick snack after work, or after a workout, microwave Mac Nooch. Creamy, simple, quick. I had my doubts when I first heard about microwaving pasta, so I don't blame you if you're cringing right now, but trust me, made right, it tastes no different than pasta cooked on the stove. Pour 3/4 of a cup of regular dry macaroni noodles into a microwave-safe bowl, and then add a cup of water. Add a bit of salt, about an 1/8 teaspoon, then nuke for 3 minutes. Then you can stir and test a noodle just to see where you're at. Then nuke for another minute or more, but check every 60 seconds to test the doneness and to make sure the water hasn't totally evaporated. If it has, just add a little more. When your noodles are fully cooked, they might have a little water left over, which is fine. For the creamy sauce, I'm using a tablespoon of Chinese sesame paste. You can really use any kind of toasted tahini, but I'm currently addicted to this particular kind. Add a tablespoon of nutritional yeast for its delicious savory flavor and stir in. Maybe add some frozen peas, not too much, and then for that you'll want to heat for 30 seconds. Afterwards, add a teaspoon of lemon juice. You can see this is getting a little bit dry. The pasta will keep absorbing liquid, especially if the noodles were a little bit on the undercooked side. So if you like, add a little water or vegetable broth to loosen the sauce. Maybe even vegan butter or a little olive oil. It's up to you. Then add salt and pepper. I prefer white pepper. Maybe some crushed red pepper flakes, dried chives, salt, or whatever else you like. Just taste and adjust. And there you have a super simple, creamy Mac Nooch dish in under 5 minutes for when you need something filling and tasty right now. And honestly, I go for these easy meals lately because I ain't got no hand budget to spare and I'm busy. Plus my boyfriend's eating habits and schedule have digressed from mine since I've been waking up way earlier, and that just throws off our timetables. So I am really often cooking just for myself. Let me know if you would like more cooking for one ideas. You can use the poll coming up on the screen. Well, maybe this video is already making you peckish, so just pause and throw something together like that Mac Nooch, because the next recipe will most def make you hungry. Vegan buffalo chicken for one. And by vegan chicken, I really mean this twice frozen medium from tofu. You may recognize this technique from such videos as the best vegan fried chicken, vegan General Tso's, and vegan honey butter chicken. This tofu was frozen right after I bought it, plenty of time before the expiration date. Frozen solid, then thawed slowly in the fridge for a day, in the vegetable crisper, since that's one of the warmest sections of my fridge. Sometimes the process takes 2 days if my crisper happens to be full and I have to use the top shelf. So you gotta kind of have to factor in that time. And then when I felt that it was thawed all the way through to the middle, I stuck it back in the freezer to make this solid frozen block. That second freeze helps give the medium tofu a little more stability. Don't ask me why, but when I tested the freezing only once, then thawed and tried to press it, the tofu fell apart way more easily in multiple tests. This doesn't apply to firm or extra firm tofu, which does not need a second freeze to be stable, and also isn't actually what I really recommend for this recipe. I mean, you can use it if that's all you can find, but medium is better for a couple of reasons, which I will explain. But first, let's defrost. I usually do this in the fridge, but since it takes at least a day, let's try the microwave's defrost settings. I chose the setting for fish, thinking tofu's water content is closest to fish, but as I was waiting impatiently for this to defrost, I am not sure that's the best setting. I really don't know which would be best. In fact, I think I'll have to experiment, which is fine, since I'll be testing many versions of this vegan chicken for a not-so-secret project. If you want the inside scoop, make sure you're following me on social media or subscribe to my newsletter, which you can sign up for on marystestkitchen.com. I'll be sending out a survey, which I hope you'll fill out to help me with that not-so-secret project. And finally, after a million minutes, we have our fully defrosted block of medium firm tofu. The water around it is pretty warm, so if we were not using this right away, we want to press the water out ASAP and cool it down again super fast so it doesn't stay too long in the danger zone. But we are using this right away, and my plan is to have this entire block of tofu all for myself. Mwahaha. And as usual, I'm using this tofu-making mold as a press. It fits my tofu perfectly, so the sides are supported, which makes this delicate tofu less likely to break before I break it on purpose. You can also use 2 flat surfaces like a couple of cutting boards if you don't have something like this, but this was really inexpensive on Amazon, so if you're interested in it, well, check out the link I put in the description for you. Just gently squeeze out the water as much as possible, then very gently separate the block into pieces. There will be places in the tofu where it wants to break, so find those areas and peel away with just the lightest touch. This way we can reveal the layers that the water created when it froze the block. I've tested this technique with all the brands available to me with medium firm tofu, and they all create this layered effect. If you cannot get those brands, you'll have to experiment. If you get a spongy effect rather than this, try going one step softer with the brand that you're using, but go too soft and the layers just squish and the texture is just not as nice. There's a balance. The other benefit to using medium tofu that results in these layers is that the water comes out pretty easily. And the drier you can make this, the less tofu-ish it will taste, and the more delicious it will become since we're going to add in some liquid flavor. This time, I'm using my do-it-yourself vegan chicken broth powder, which is basically nutritional yeast, salt, and herbs. It's simple and tasty, but you can really use whatever vegan chicken broth powder or paste that you like the best to make double-strength vegan chicken broth. In this case, I'm using 1.5 teaspoons of powder into 1/2 cup of water. Stick the dried pieces of tofu into the broth and gently press so the broth gets soaked up. Just leave those in there while we make the one-step breading mix. I'm not really measuring, but this is about 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. Regular or gluten-free is fine. Use any kind you like. Plus, add 1/4 cup-ish of nutritional yeast. I also have some whole wheat panko crumbs I wanted to use up, and some fried onions. Yeah, they're vegan if you don't mind the palm oil. These will add some extra flavor and crunch. So if you don't have them, just add something else crunchy and toss in some onion powder. Season however you like, but we're going to add sauce later, so you don't really have to go all in on the seasonings now. Then gently pick up a piece of the soaked tofu and coat with your seasoned flour mix. You want each piece to get coated on all sides, but you don't need too much. And if you have some crumbly bits of tofu, just kind of place them together. They will stick together as they bake. As always, I'm using parchment paper in the baking pan for easy cleanup later. When all your tofu pieces are coated in the seasoned flour and on your pan, they are ready to go in the preheated oven. Except I forgot to preheat, now we have to wait. It's fine, we can wait. Just select the convection setting first and then you can select the temperature. Press start twice to confirm and it'll start heating up. Convection oven is a little different from a regular oven because it has a fan. This circulates the air and is supposed to bake your food faster. The same technology as an air fryer, except air fryers are more intense, like with a smaller space and the heating element is closer to your food and the fan might be pushing air faster. Don't really know. This oven is just as loud as my air fryer was though. Not like deafening, but it's not quiet. I expected this to preheat fast since it's such a small space, but not really. It takes about as long as my regular stove oven, about 15 minutes. Then it beeps to let you know it's reached temperature and you can start baking. No matter what you're using at home, bake the tofu until it is getting some golden color on and the edges are looking browned. And this took about 20 minutes in this convection oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Since we didn't add oil yet, they will look kind of sad, which is like no worries. Take them out and spray or brush on a light coat of oil, and it's much easier to apply the oil when it has baked a little bit because, well, it's not wet and powdery. Make sure you get all sides. Then pop them back in until they're looking golden brown and crispy. This took an additional 14 minutes. Try to resist eating these right away because we've got to add our vegan buffalo sauce. I'm using the same sauce as we made for our baked cauliflower wings, which is just hot sauce, vegan butter, onion powder, garlic powder, and some vinegar. Once you get your vegan wings coated, plate them up right away with some celery and vegan creamy dip. This is actually just vegan mayo with some chives and dehydrated onions, plus poultry seasoning and lemon juice and salt. And there you have it. This one took way more time and effort than the first two recipes, but I'd say it's worth it. More than worth it. Just look at this vegan buffalo chicken. Just look at it. And if you don't already have that tofu in the freezer, put it in now. And if you don't usually buy medium tofu, put it on your shopping list. Because this. And honestly, even though this took a frigging hour to make, time flew because I was listening to City of Brass on Audible. It's a mystical tale of genies, except not the big blue kind at all, and it's really beautiful. It's like a Middle Eastern Harry Potter for adults, sort of. Now that I'm recording this voiceover, I actually already finished the second book in the series, The Kingdom of Copper, which is so good, and I friggin' can't wait for the next one. And if you want to listen to both of these books for free, check the link in the description to sign up for your free trial with 2 books included, not just 1, 2. The link should work as long as you haven't already gotten 2 free books from Audible before. After you select your books, even if you cancel right after, you'll still get to keep them. And yep, I do get a kickback if you sign up, so that's one way to support the channel and get free stuff for yourself. And yeah, that's it. End of the spiel. I've put the recipes or the recipe links in the description, but remember, the amounts for these recipes are approximate. Use your cooking experience and your personal preference to just like make them your own. And of course, take a pic and tag me on Instagram because you know I love seeing that ish. Also, if you want to check out more details on this machine, I've left the link which has all the product details, and of course the link is an Amazon affiliate link as per usual, but that is not an endorsement, which comes to the question, would I buy this Toshiba microwave oven? First of all, I would never buy something off of first impression. I'd go and read the reviews on ideally more than one site before spending any money, and of course I'd hem and haw about every little thing before adding it to my cart, and that includes measuring the thing. But let me give you my first impression pros and cons. First, pros. As a microwave, it works fine. I've never actually encountered a microwave that doesn't work fine though. It has all the usual settings that you'll want on a microwave, you know, quick cook options, different power settings, timer, defrost, etc. It's not unusual in any way that I can tell, except that it's very pretty. It's pretty much the nicest looking microwave I think I've ever encountered. The convection mode gives you the 2-in-1 function, and lets you bake similar to a regular full-sized oven in a smaller space, and you can crisp things up rather quickly. I've used it on some soggy onion rings the other day without preheating, and they actually came out super crunchy and perfect. So you can certainly get that air-fried effect. But for me, it is too big for my small space. It doesn't fit on my countertop since it needs at least 3 inches of clearance on all sides and then more on the top. So I've been keeping it on my filming table. Also, it doesn't get much insulation, so the sides get really hot when you're baking. So I imagine that would be torture in the summer. Anyways, I'll continue using it, and if my opinion swings one way or the other, I'll probably let you know. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. You know, I was hesitant to bring back What I Ate Wednesdays, even though I missed doing them, but you guys let me know on the community page, Twitter, and on Facebook that you missed them too, so I guess the people have spoken. They won't appear nearly as often as before, but maybe like once a month? We'll see. And probably more vlog style than this one was. I don't usually plan out what I eat in a day or have a theme, but for this I was excited about trying to do all the meals in one day in the microwave oven, so there's that. As for my video schedule, you might have noticed already I'm aiming to make a video every other Wednesday. This is so I can put the time I want to into each video and still be able to work on the not-so-secret project and also not trigger my chronic pain. And I guess that's enough of an update for this long video. I do have another big life update to share, but that is going to have to wait until the next What I Eat in a Day episode, so turn on notifications, subscribe if you haven't already, and love vegan fun food. Comment down below with what you want to see, and let me know which recipe was your favorite from today, and of course anything else you would like to share. Don't forget that poll letting me know if you want to see more Meals for One. Thanks again for watching, and all the way to the end. Oh my gosh, you're my hero. Thank you so much. Special thanks to my channel members for your monthly support. It is much appreciated and very encouraging. Bye for now.